today I'm sharing 3 questions that my millennial entrepreneurs should definitely be asking before deciding to quit your day job or your 9 to 5. Welcome to another video. If for some reason you don't know who I am, I'm Danielle the coach. I'm a certified life and leadership coach. I help millennial entrepreneurs break up with the status quo and unapologetically create the life of their wildest dreams, their way and on their terms. If you are watching this here with me live, thank you. Let me know that you're here. Say hey in the chat so that I can see you. Yeah, I should be able to see you now. If you happen to be catching the replay, do me a favor and drop hashtag replay in the comments so that I know you came back through and watched it, and I'll come back through and show you some love. Before I dive in and share these 3 questions with you, I want to make an invitation for you to book a free strategy session with me. If you are a millennial entrepreneur that is still juggling a 9 to 5, as well as your entrepreneurial endeavors, whether you're already dabbling in it, whether you're already running a business, but you don't have the confidence to quit your 9 to 5, but that's something that has been weighing on you and that you've been wanting to do, but there could be a reason or a number of reasons why you just have not given your notice and said peace out, right? If that is you, I want to make an invitation for you to book a complimentary strategy session with me, and so we can partner together and see like what is possible, right? What might be on the other side of that decision and what could support you in making that decision quicker, right? So if that's you, go to daniellethecoach.com/apply. The link is in the description of the video as well. And I'll likely go back and put it in the comments for you also. So fast forward to what I want to share today, right? So 3 questions that my millennial entrepreneurs should definitely be asking themselves. There's plenty, but these three came up for me today and I want to share. So question number 1. This is something that I found myself asking myself for years before I actually made my decision to quit. So if you don't know anything about my story, I'll give you a little backstory. So I not only quit a 6-figure career once, I did it twice. First time I got recruited back, um, and it was pretty sweet. I got recruited back to do something, some work that I was really interested in. It was a different flex for me, so I went back and was able to do something different. So it worked out, right? The second time I did it, I did it and I meant it that time, and there was no turning back. However, I do know that from the very beginning of my career, there was something in me that knew that I would not be retiring from that organization. I wasn't going to be one of those people that got 30 and 40 years. I did not see that for myself, and I felt it in my gut. I just knew that I'm not going to be retiring. Like, this is the work that I was doing when I first got there was like pretty monotonous, important, but monotonous. And just knowing myself and getting into the rhythm, I realized that, like, yeah, this ain't it for your girl. It's cool for a little while, right? I'm out of school. I've checked all my boxes, got the bachelor's, went straight back and got the master's degree, but this right here is not it, right? So I just knew. However, that turned into like a storybook kind of career, and I forgot about that because things were just so magical and it became an adventure. I had all kind of opportunities knocking and coming my way, and I was taking advantage of them until the rubber hit the road, until the fairy tale ended, right? And I looked up a couple years later and I'm like, okay, wait, how did I get here? And what am I going to do about it? Because it feels like the fairy tale has ended, right? It doesn't feel as cushy and romantic anymore, romantic in the professional sense. So, like, what am I going to do about it? How do I get out of this? And so that began like probably the process of the seed being planted, or I guess watered, that initial seed that I had of like, I'm not retiring from here, right? It came back up. So now it sprouted a little bit. And so that probably began the process of me not only leaving, but before it gets to the point of wanting to leave, it's just like, well, let me see how I can fix where I am. Is it me? Is it them? What is it? right? Because leaving was not the first line of defense for me. So not only have I quit a six-figure career once, I've done it twice, right? Landed on 2 feet, lived to tell about it, still here, and now helping other people do the same thing. But what I remember even back during the first time when I was thinking about like what was next and how to get myself out of what was no longer comfortable, what was no longer fueling me, what was no longer fulfilling me. One of the questions that I would ask myself, and the question almost would haunt me, was how successful could I be if I worked as hard for myself as I work for other people? Like I said, my career was a storybook, like fairy tale type of vibe. Certain people found out about me. I was consistent with my work ethic. When it came to the job, Danielle got the job done. I was the type of person that anybody wanted on their team. I was the type of person that had executives buying for me to be on their team, right? That's kind of a good position to be in when you're gainfully employed. You got options and people want you on their team, right? And so for me, it's just like, well, okay, I know my value. I know I'm valuable. I know I add value on any team I'm on, in any room I'm in. Am I perfect? No. But they know, my leadership knows that if Danielle is in tow, if Danielle is on my team, I can sleep a little bit easier at night. So when I sat back and I really assessed my career up until that point, and that might have been 4 or 5 years into being a career professional at that point, when I really assessed that, and I'm just like, well, wow, I know I've proven it to others and myself that when I show up, I show up. When I'm committed, I'm committed. And when I'm on the team, I am that team member. So what would be possible if I worked just as hard for myself? What might be possible? So that's the first question to ask yourself, right? And that's something that probably I will even go out on a limb and say it haunted me. It haunted me for a while, right? Until I finally just succumbed to it and say, you know what? I don't want to wonder what if anymore. I am going to find out, right? And then that leads me to the next question, right? So when I say, you know what? I don't want to know what if anymore, I'm going to find out. The second question to ask yourself is, if you were to take the leap, right? If you were to make a calculated risk and bet on yourself, leverage your skills, knowledge, and expertise and monetize it, in a way, doing something that you love, something that you do naturally well and that serves others, what's the worst that could happen? That's question number two. What's the worst that can happen? For a lot of us, my go-getters, the worst that could happen is that, okay, whatever you try fails and that you go get another job. The worst that could happen. A lot of we psych ourselves out of what's possible by thinking about the worst, but what we don't do is we don't go all the way with our thought process and really call it out. So we're afraid to fail, but what does failure mean? What does failure really look like? And does failure look like, oh, I don't make any money, so I can't support myself and my lifestyle, so I have to go rely on employment to pay my bills? Okay, you were doing that anyway. But you no longer have to wonder what if. So what, right? So the first question is, how successful could I be if I worked this hard for myself as I work for other people, right? The second question is, what's the worst that can happen if I take a calculated risk and bet on myself and create something for myself and create the financial and time freedom and independence that my heart and my gut and my soul are craving? What's the worst that could happen? And really go there. I'm getting ready to share the third one with you, but before I do, I want to ask a favor and share something else. If you're here with me live, do me a favor and let me know. Say hey in the chat so I can see you. A reminder, if you are catching this on the replay, drop hashtag replay so that I know you came and watched it, and I'll come back and show you some love, right? And then also, I want to make an invitation. If you are a millennial professional, you could be a full-time entrepreneur, but ideally you are what I call a straddler. You have a 9 to 5, you're a career professional, you have almost 2 decades in the game. You know what you know. You're a subject matter expert. You're bad at what you do. You are forced to be reckoned with, and you know a couple of things, right? You're not new to this. And you also are building a business on the side, managing a business on the side, but it's part-time because you're doing both. You're wearing both hats, entrepreneur and career professional. But you know that you like me, you know that you won't be retiring from this job. You know that it's only a matter of time. But the thing that's keeping you stuck in where you are now is not clear, right? Or maybe it is clear. It could be you are in your own way. It could be some other things that you just haven't addressed yet, but there's something or some things keeping you stuck, right? And you're very uncomfortable. You're very uncomfortable. This is not where you want to be, and you're more than likely most uncomfortable because deep down in your heart, maybe not even deep down in your heart, you know that there's more to life for you. You know that where you are, this is not the end game for you. So right now you're coasting, but you also feel like you're wasting time because you know that there's more out there for you. If that is you, I want to invite you to book a complimentary strategy session with me. Go to daniellethecoach.com/apply. The link is also in the description of this video. Go there, complete the application, and let's have a conversation and see what next might look like for you, right? Let's see how time might be able to collapse for you to get you out of where you are and moving in the direction of where you really, really want to be. Now, not later, now. You've been thinking about it forever. You've been talking about it forever. And you know that like it's time. It's time. And you could use some support and accountability from someone who understands. Because this thing that you're getting ready to do, this thing that you've been plotting over, this thing that you've been hesitant to share with other people because you feel like you don't want to be judged. Listen, I understand. This is why I'm making the invitation. Let's talk. Go to daniellethecoach.com/apply, or you can click the link that's in the description of this video. Book your call and we'll have a conversation, okay? If you are just looking like to vent, you're not really serious about making some type of change or some type of shift, if you're looking to pick my brain, this is not for you. This call is not for you. I want to be clear about that. But if you are who I described previously, let's chat, okay? All right, so here's question number 3 that I want to drop with you. If you found out today that you only have 5 years left to live, what changes would you make starting today? What decisions would you make today that shape and define the trajectory for the next 5 years? What would you do differently if you knew you only had 5 years? And I'm not putting that on anybody. I'm just saying, if you were to think about it that way, if you knew you only had 5 years left to live, what would you want to do with that time? How would you operate differently, right? What decisions would you make, or what decisions would you make differently, right? Think about your life in that context. What if? And if that were the case, what would you do? And my charge for you is do it now. Why does your back have to be against the wall? Why do you have to have like the terminal type of pressure? Apply pressure yourself. We don't know the day or the hour. We just don't know, right? So why not maximize on what the time that you have and the ability that you have in the space in your youth? Because I don't know about you, but I'm a PYT and I still got it in my geriatric millennial state. Okay, so take advantage of our youth and get this thing done. Get this party started. So I'll play back to you the 3 questions, right? In case you missed any piece. The first thing is, how successful might you be if you worked as hard for yourself as you work for other people? The second question is, what's the worst that can happen if you finally bet on yourself and leveraged your natural gifts along with your skills and expertise, doing something that you loved and that served other people? What's the worst that could happen? Go there. The third question is, if you only have 5 years left to live, what would you do differently starting today? What would change? What would shift? And why? Right? And I'm gonna throw in a third question, a sub to number three. Um, so if you only have 5 years left, right, and you will make these decisions, you know what? No, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm gonna let it ruminate. I take that back. Sorry. So those are my three questions. Number three is, if you only have 5 years left to live, what would you do differently? Right? What would you do? What would you do differently, and why? Right? What would you do? What would you do differently, and why? What decisions would you make differently? So I hope that served you. If you got anything from this, if something struck a chord with you, do me a favor and let me know in the comments. I would love to know that. Again, if you're here with me live or you're catching the replay, thank you for taking the time to watch. Let me know that you were here in the chat, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and don't forget, if you are really, really, really thinking about quitting, and there's something that's keeping you stuck, you're frustrated, overwhelmed, jaded, you really don't know which way you're going, you just kind of need some help, some support from a like mind, a like spirit, listen, I'm inviting you to book a complimentary strategy session. Go to daniellethecoach.com/apply. daniellethecoach.com/apply. And the link is also in the video description. Okay. I look forward to speaking with you. I'll see you next time.